2021 saw the end of some amazing series and the start of another bunch of amazing series going into 2022. So I want to make you guys a list of my top 10 favorite new manhwa that came out in 2021. If you like this type of content, please do subscribe to the channel. I really want to try and make this channel into something. Other than that, let's jump right into the list. At number 10 is Return of the Hua Sect. You follow a protagonist that faced his end on the battlefield fighting against the greatest evil of his time. He is the legendary Blossoming Blade, another name that this series actually has, and as he faces the end of his life, he realizes that the evil clan that he just fought against will rise again, and he won't be there to save it. He gets reincarnated 100 years later, and the Hua Sect is not what it used to be. It has fallen into disrepair, and it is one of the most shameful places now to find a martial artist. It is not as strong as it used to be. It's lost its secret arts, but his arrival may mean the change of their fates. He brings with him knowledge from the past and from the height of the sect, and he does everything he can to bring it back up. He doesn't want to be the leader of the sect. That's not what he enjoys. He's a hilarious character that just is badass to no end. He flexes like crazy, and he's fighting against his own childlike body because he is a powerful swordsman. This one is absolutely fantastic. The art style is on point, and it's just a lot of fun to read, and in the end, that's all that matters. If you haven't checked this one out already, you definitely should be. At number 9 is The Game I Came From. In this one, there's the world, and there's a VR world that is very intricately linked to the real world. If you awaken inside of the VR world, you carry some of those perks back into the real world. While we haven't quite ventured too much into that topic in the storyline so far, the protagonist of the story was one that was being bullied like crazy, and as he entered the VR world that time, he faced his own annihilation while being reborn into his younger self, able to know all the details of the VR game that had been was about to be released at that exact moment. He's able to go into the VR game and kick so much ass. It's not about the art style, because I think the art, there's definitely better stuff out there, but this one is just fun. The protagonist knows so much about the VR world, and he does everything he can to build a strong party right now, and I am all in right now on good ensemble casts, because they're not as common as you might think in manhwa. At number 8 is Return of the legendary Spearknight. This one follows a character that was betrayed, and if you know me, I love betrayal stories because vengeance comes right after. Betrayed by basically the royal family that he served, he's sent back in time into his childlike body, but this time he has all the knowledge from his previous life. His spear skills, he'll have to relearn to wield them to the same level of strength, but the knowledge he has from his past life is going to help him accelerate the process. What I really love about this one is that early on he says, I have to not show off my power because I'll draw too much attention. But he basically says, screw that, I'll just beat the crap out of everyone instead. And it's super enjoyable. He's cocky as hell in a lot of ways, but he's just very calculated, controlling, and he knows who he needs to befriend and who he needs to basically beat down in order to get his revenge as is needed. The storyline is enjoyable, and I am looking forward, hopefully, to a time jump eventually, but till then, I'm still enjoying everything happening in the academy right now. At number 7 is Infinite Leveling in Murim. Infinite Leveling in Murim follows a protagonist that finds his end on the battlefield, sent to die by people in higher station than himself that were too cowardly to fight off against the great powers. And as he faces his end, he's sent back in time to his younger body and gets the chance to go to the same academy he went to, but this time with the skill and knowledge from his previous life. And this will allow him to change his fate from being a low-born peasant child to having the chance to train with some of the most powerful martial artists of his time and basically transcending his station in life. There's this metaphor in the story about the silver spoon and the wooden spoon. He is definitely born under the wooden spoon, but he aspires to a lifestyle in the silver spoon. And there's this continuous pushback with those that have had a more aristocratic upbringing versus himself. And it's always enjoyable to see him put the beat down on all these people that think lowly people are nothing. And he's just a great protagonist. He's also very hardworking. He's not born with some amazing skill. He does have a leveling system which is helping him out, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have to work hard. And if anything, sometimes the punishments of the system are a little brutal. If you aren't checking this one out, you definitely should be. At number 6 is Seoul Station NECROMANCER. You see a protagonist that spent time in another world, returns to the Earth, and he was previously a necromancer, amazingly strong in this other world, and he has to restart that in the new world. But he's a good swordsman, fights well with a spear, and he's able to raise the dead. It has this purplish vibe to it that when he arises the dead, and it definitely gives some Soul Leveling vibes. The art style is nowhere on the level of Soul Leveling, but it is still a very enjoyable series. The character is funny, his interactions with other characters in the world are very enjoyable, and for that, it is really exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. At number 5 is Soul Station Druid. Yes, another Soul Station one. The protagonist encounters Truck-kun and ends up being isekai to another world where he spends thousands of years running with the wolves, becoming more powerful, and eventually finds his way back to Earth. But I believe it's only 10 years that have passed on Earth since he left, which means his little brother has grown up and thinks that he basically ran away. But he quickly discovers that the power that he came back with is clearly a sign that there's more that went on during that time than just running away. There's very interesting character moments that happen between him and his brother and his family, these other hunters that are around him in this world, and the power level that he's unlocking, because there's an additional power system to just becoming stronger with leveling and all that, which means he has the potential to become a kick-ass powerful character. What's also interesting is they just introduced in the storyline this idea of a regressor and a catastrophic event basically ending the world. So that, on the backdrop of the main character getting stronger, it gives me a lot of hope for a really interesting story going forward. At number 4 is Return of the Crazy Demon. Oh my god, this one is so much fun. Of all the protagonists on this list, this is the most fun protagonist I've watched. He's insane, and there's a reason it's called crazy. At one moment he could be like, I'll let everyone live, it's good. And then he's like, yeah, nah, I'm just gonna kill you all. He's on a boat, and he's like, alright, fight each other. Only one of you can survive, and I'll let the one that survives live. It's just crazy stuff. The storyline's really good. It's funny. It's about a main character who gets sent, like, basically he steals a gem from a clan. They're chasing him. He's making fun of them. He taunts them. He eats the gem as he jumps off of a bridge, and he ends up getting basically transported back into his younger body. He's powerful to no end, and he keeps beating up these extraordinarily strong individuals. The comedy really hits for me in this series for some reason. There are moments that are a little silly that have like diarrhea humor, but it still is enjoyable because the storytelling's on point. And I didn't mention this, but the art is also phenomenal, as you're probably seeing on screen right now. It really looks great, and each chapter is always fun to read. At number 3 is Poison Dragon, or Venom Dragon. This one is a completely different vibe, guys. It is very dark, very depressing at times. Follows the character that was basically put to death. Everyone in his family, everyone he knew was poisoned and faced horrible deaths. But he struggled, fought, bit the insect that poisoned him, and found a way to survive. And he's been struggling ever since the beginning of the story. And right now, where we're at in the story at the end of 2021, we are facing a character that is a very different place. Yes, he wants revenge, but he's much more of a well-rounded character now that's built interactions with others and has a new lease on life and what he considers important to him, which changes things. Because for a long time in the story, you do face a character that's very simple, but I cannot wait to see, 1, how powerful he'll become, and 2, just how exciting the story can be going forward. The art is also not so bad. At number 2 is Solo Max Level NEWBIE. This one for me is the spiritual successor of Soul Leveling in so many different ways. I don't even think it's spiritual, it's pretty direct actually. If I remember well, Redis Studios makes this one as well, which is the studio behind Soul Leveling. The main character looks a little bit like Sung Jin-woo. He fights with daggers. There are definitely like game systems like Soul Leveling, so if you see similarities to it, I'm not that surprised. That being said, I think there's some things it does a lot better and some things it does a little bit less good. The action is still top-notch, not quite the same level as Soul Leveling, but still really enjoyable. The itemization is way better, though. I think the interactions with gain systems in this one are just really well done. They feel really important to the story, which didn't feel the same in Soul Leveling after a while. We'll see if that continues to be the case going forward, but so far I'm really enjoying it. The climbing of the tower is really interesting. We're only at the beginning of it, but it's really interesting as well how the game that became reality, which basically the story is the main character defeats a game, after that the game becomes real. He has these secret knowledge about the game because he's the only person that ever finished it. So he's using that to his advantage, but the game bleeds into the real world in a lot of different ways. So there's auction houses auctioning off items. There's other players that had gotten far in the game that are basically rankers in the game. They're strong players because they know exactly how to do things, but the main character is taking things slow. He's going to get hidden items. He's setting himself up to be really powerful later, which means it doesn't always mean that he's going to be the most powerful right now, which is super interesting, which means there's always characters around him that are super strong, but his interactions are fun. He's cocky as all hell. He's got a partner right now, which is like a demon queen, who's kind of adorable at the same time as being a cool comrade, which I think was lacking from Soul Leveling a little bit, which gives, again, this one a little bit of uniqueness as well. At number 1 for 2021 is Leveling with the Gods. Leveling with the Gods simply has the potential. 100%. It's already really enjoyable, but I'm excited for where it can go. It starts off with this idea of having a pantheon of gods, as well as one Korean guy, which sounds really weird to say, that rose up the tower, fought against the outer gods, but faced failure at the end of it all. They all look really cool. There's the Monkey King, there's Hephaestus, there's a bunch of different gods that partner together, but as they fail, they're like, well, that's it. Kronos, the god of time, sacrifices his chance to reincarnate and be reborn to send the main character back in time before basically the tower appeared and the game started. And as he's sent back in time, unlike most protagonists that go around like chilling in high school before things start, right away he starts gathering weapons, gets ready for the battle, and as soon as the world changes, he is on top of getting items, like challenging different events that others shouldn't be able to challenge at this point in the game. And the way the itemization is made is really interesting, whether it's his cape or the eyes of the Monkey King. They're all really cool items and feel really important to the storyline. And not to mention, all of it is done in an art style that has a unique feel to it that I'm really enjoying, and I think makes it different than everything else out there. A lot of people end up comparing all these series to Soul Leveling, but everything is just different enough to be interesting in its own right. There will be, obviously, inspiration. Soul Leveling is the most popular manhwa in the world right now, and as it faced its end last year, people are going to be looking for what to pick up right now, and Leveling with the Gods, I believe, is the next one. Guys, if you like lists like this, if you enjoy my channel, please do subscribe. I would be very appreciative of that. If not, please do leave a comment down below on what you would like me to cover next, whether that be a review of a specific series, a type of video you'd like me to make, or another top 10 list you'd like to see. Please do leave that down below. Have a good one, guys.